Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina Wilcox with Run It Studios, and we talk about running things both literally and metaphorically. And one of the things that I know I run a lot in my life is my health and advocating for myself, advocating for my friends and family, making sure that we know that we have a voice. And that's something that my guest, Pam Cusick, is all about doing, and you are with Rare Patient Voice. So, welcome. Tell me a little bit about how you are involved.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. Rare Patient Voice, we connect patients and caregivers with all kinds of research opportunities. My role there is really to work mostly actually work across a lot of areas. So I oversee our patient advocacy team, which is the group that connects directly with the patients and our referral partners and tries to bring more people into our community so that they can engage in research. And then I also oversee our sales and our marketing teams, which focus more on the client side of things. So really kind of across the whole spectrum.
And I know that I see your logo there says also non rare now. So, when did that change?
Gosh, I think a couple of years ago, maybe even before COVID,
Okay.
we found that people would sign up with us. We might be at a rare disease conference, and they would say, "Oh, well, but my mom has diabetes, and she wanted to sign up. Is that okay?" Or a lot of times, patients don't just have one condition; they may have multiple things, and so some might be rare conditions, and some might not be. We realized it really was important to be inclusive and include everybody and who wanted to share their voice. And so we didn't want to change the logo because we thought it was pretty cute. So we added a little banner underneath.
Love it. So, explain to somebody that sees the logo, Rare Patient Voice. What does that mean? What do I do?
Great. I would explain to them that, when you join Rare Patient Voice, you will sign up with whatever diseases or conditions you have. You can list any devices you use, a hearing aid, a walker, a wheelchair. And then when we get a request from one of our clients, we'll send you an email with an opportunity to participate in research. And that could be doing a survey, it could be doing a focus group, it could be doing an interview, or it could be a clinical trial. You never have to participate in anything, but if you're interested, you can click on the link and then see if you qualify for that particular study. For most studies, we pay patients $120 an hour. So if you're doing a 60-minute interview, it'll be 120. If you're doing a 30-minute survey, it would be 60. We do not Patients don't get compensated for clinical trials. Usually they're usually paid for they'll pay for like travel and reimbursement, but there are other rules around clinical trials that we don't have control of. But for all the other types of research we invite people to do, they're compensated for their time. When you sign up, as I said, you'll get invited to different studies. You can choose to do them or not do them. Um, but if you do, you'll be connected with a project manager who will then, if it's a project where you're being scheduled for, a focus group or an interview, you'll click on a time, or sometimes the client will want to schedule that themselves. So you might talk to them on the phone and be scheduled for a time for your interview. Once that's done, they'll let us know and we'll pay you for your time. With surveys, it's a little more, like straightforward. You click on the link, fill out all the questions, the data goes back to the client, then you get redirected to us, and we confirm your address and then make payment to you. So it's a fairly straightforward process from, signing up to being invited to a study to getting paid.
Share why this is so important.
Well, it is so important for a variety of reasons. One, patients are the experts on their condition and know more than any doctor or researcher could know just from living, 24/7 with that condition. There are things that you tell your doctor when you go into the office that, in that, 15 minutes of time that you're with the nurse and the doctor and all these other, whoever might be in there, you're telling them, they're asking questions and you're responding and giving them kind of the detail around the specifics that they're asking about, but what they don't know about maybe is, what's it like when you get out of bed in the morning? How is your sleep? Are you up 20 times a night? Different things depending on the condition that might just never come up in your doctor's visit. You get to share that during an interview.
Yeah.
Um, the researchers are trying to gather that broader insight, that bigger picture, so that, when a product, and this is the other reason it's important, when a product or service is being developed to help patients or help their family caregivers, it actually makes sense and it is something that a patient can use. So it's important because you're the experts. It's important because those clients who are developing those products and services need to be able to incorporate the patient's expertise. So, there are, back in the day, a long time ago, it really was, researchers would ask the doctor what the doctor thought the patient thought, right?
Right.
And now we've come, far beyond that where we are actually, asking the person who's impacted. Wow, what a great idea.
Yeah.
But, asking the person who's impacted to have them share, what their daily experience is. And if they have, another example is if they've had experience with a product
Hmm.
and it has, worked this way, but it didn't do these things that it was supposed to do. Like those are things and important insights that, that it would be lost if a patient did not share that information.
Yeah. It's vital. It's a responsibility to share in a way for yourself and for others down the road. Like you're saying, the doctor has one perspective, the patient has the whole puzzle in
Right.
front of them. Can you share an example of someone that's come to you and went through an interview or a test and then saw on the other side the fruits of the labor?
I can't actually, this is a good one. So we have one of our colleagues, he lives with multiple sclerosis, and
Mhm.
he participated in a study some time ago where he was looking at, it was a usability study. So they were looking at different canes and how, they were used and kind of the good attributes, the things that weren't working so well. And he then later saw a cane that was three pronged by, one of these companies, and he said, "I'm sure that it was my input that, that changed that because instead of just having, 2 to balance, it had now 3, points of contact, which helped to keep, you more balanced." And so he was in one of those studies where they were looking at kind of the features and, benefits and how things could be improved, and then turned around and some time later saw that product on the market.
Wow, very nice. So, if someone participates one time, is there a wait period before they can partake in another exercise or study, or can they just go back to back? How does it work?
Not particularly. It really depends on the way that, requests come into us. So those are, when we have, I'll use MS as an example. We have a good number of people who have signed up for, to rare patient voice with MS. And so maybe there are 4,000 or 6,000 people. So we might, send out to a variety of different people so everyone's getting the same request. Then there are conditions where we have a much smaller number of people. So if we get several requests, it could go to the same people, because that community is much smaller, especially in some of the rare conditions. We will have, 25 or 30 people to invite, and they may not participate every time,
Yeah.
but they may get invitations, multiple times. They also might get, I mentioned a minute ago about how people often have more than one thing. So
Hmm.
you might have signed up with a rare condition, but also a heart condition and also asthma or, or allergies or what have you. And so one day you might get something for your rare condition, and then the next day something for allergies, and then the next day something for another condition. So it varies. I mean, we try to the best that we can to kind of randomize sending
Yeah.
those things out to people. But again, when it's a smaller community, it's a little harder to do that.
Yeah. Now, that's for the patient side. What if maybe a doctor or a research team learns about you and they have something that they want to test or study or get from that pool? How do they connect with you or how does that process work?
So it's usually not a doctor, but, I mean, sometimes it could be a university researcher.
Okay.
More often it's either a clinical researcher or a market research company trying to connect with the patient. So really what they do is they send us an email and they'll say, "Oh, I need to do interviews with hemophilia patients. They'll be 60 minutes each, and I need to do them online." And so we will then create a proposal for that request and send it back to them with kind of the feasibility, how many people we think we can get for that particular project, and then what the cost would be. And then if they approve that, we'll assign a project manager, and that project manager will work to connect with those patients and invite them to participate.
Very good. Anything else that I'm not thinking to ask or that you want people to know about rare patient voice?
Oh gosh, well, let's see. We are, as you had mentioned, we are also non-rare. We are in 9 countries.
Okay.
So if you're listening from outside of the US, you're in Canada, the UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Australia, or New Zealand. We invite you to sign up. One day maybe we'll go beyond those countries, but right now that's where we are. Um, most people, who have signed up because they want to participate in market research, focus groups, interview surveys, but we do also have opportunities to participate in clinical research, which is a different type of study and involves more, perhaps more time and in-person visiting, but those opportunities are there as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Come back anytime and share the website one more time for everyone.
It is rarepatientvoice.com.
All right. Thanks, Pam. Appreciate what you're doing for the community.
Sure thing. Thank you so much, Trina. Have a great day.
You too. Be sure you connect to any platform you prefer to watch or listen from runitstudios.com.